What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday, but today is a little bonus edition Sunday video where we cover, all the four major sports leagues: NHL, NBA, NFL, and MLB, whether it be games, news, highlights. And in today's segment, obviously, for anyone who's been watching, they know I'm a Minnesota sports fan, Vikings, Timberwolves. And today I just kind of want to talk about the draft, and with free agency starting in a couple hours, kind of the plans for the Timberwolves there. But obviously, first, we got to talk about just the draft. If you haven't already, make sure to check out me and Nick's, draft review of everything. We did a video on each round. But as a Timberwolves fan, obviously, shout out Flagrant House. If anyone who else is watching this is a Timberwolves fan, go watch their podcast. They have great content. And basically, the biggest thing was the Wolves had a big first night. The second day, they ended up doing anything. They didn't end up, trading out or any of stuff like that, or they end up trading out to not even select that pick 37, I believe they had, just for the luxury tax bill. They were able to just get out of that and, not have to pay the full luxury tax because they're already in the second apron. So it would have been a lot of money if they were to stay at pick 37 because trading up for Rod Dillingham, it's kind of a confusing process, but they would have owed a lot more money. So it's kind of smart, just get some draft capital back. I think they got a second round down the road. But overall, huge win for the Timberwolves in the NBA draft. A lot of people had them as winners, and rightfully so. I did too, because when you look at this team, the Timberwolves obviously made the Western Conference Finals, but fell short, mainly due to a lack of shot creation outside of Anthony Edwards. Carl's a great shooter, Mike Conley, Jay McDaniels. They can all shoot the ball well. Jay McDaniels kind of took a step back, but showed in the playoffs so he could elevate again. But they don't really create for themselves. And when Anthony Edwards isn't getting going, this offense could remain cold. That's why they were kind of just a middle of the pack offense all year, and why people didn't have them as, true contenders in the Western Conference. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to create offense just by how great their defense was. And what they do with their two first-round picks, focus on offense. And they got arguably the two of the best shot creators in the draft, mainly the best, in Rob Dillingham. They were able to trade with the Spurs, for a pick swap in a future pick, 2020-31 first rounder with the 2020-30 pick swap. And I'm going to take that all day because at the end of the day, the Spurs are they have a lot of hope with Wemby and their young players, but they're kind of just coming up. They're not worried about this year. The Timberwolves are, and they're taking advantage and throwing their chips in. So I agree with it 100%. You go up, get one of the best shot creators, one of the best point guards in this draft that you can pair with Anthony Edwards a long time. And if Rob Dillingham, obviously, some of the biggest question marks are his size, and rightfully so, and just defense because of that. But the Timberwolves had number one defense, and who do you want to surround him with? Elite defenders like Jaden McDaniels. Anthony Edwards has really come into his own as a defender. Rudy Gobert, arguably the best defender in the NBA, four-time Defensive Player of the Year, just won it. Carl, who's turned himself into a defender. So you can kind of hide that problem as he enters the, his rookie season, and just kind of, be able to get an automatic sniper off the bench, shot 44% from three at Kentucky. Just an absolute bucket getter, which is what you need, if Ant's not getting it going one night, or, you just need that more scoring, like firepower to beat a team like the Mavericks with Luka and Kyrie. So overall, I loved that. Just, a really great pickup to get offense and, being aggressive. Tim Conley, his Gobert move got criticized, and a lot of his moves have, but, he's turned himself into a phenomenal president of basketball operations. That's why a lot of teams want him. Thankfully, he pushes contract opt-out to next season because of the ownership issue, unfortunately. So, there's that. But overall, just kind of, a huge win for the Timberwolves on draft night. And Rob Dillingham, going to be an absolute star on the offensive end, I believe. Just will come in. Tim Conley, send the post interview. He's going to be playing day one, which is going to be crucial because, the Timberwolves, with their luxury tax, need these young guys to contribute. Maybe also Leonard Miller, Josh Minott, someone else to get going as well. But Rob Dillingham, one of the best offensive players, arguably the best offensive player in the draft. Just feels good to get him, and was a huge part to Kentucky's, successful regular season. I know March Madness otherwise with Jack Golke in Oakland, but, it is what it is. And then the other guy that's kind of flying under the radar, but was a huge part, was the Timberwolves pick at 27, Terrence Shannon Jr. Obviously, Terrence Shannon was a big reason why Illinois went to the Elite Eight. If they didn't play UConn, maybe Final Four, and why they won the Big Ten tournament. They were one of the best teams in college basketball, led by him. he was kind of the do-it-all guy for Illinois, and similar to Rob Dillingham, can kind of just get a bucket wherever. He averaged 23 points per game at college, and can pretty much score at all three levels. Is really good at attacking though, and can hit the three-pointer. So that's also just another. And he's a solid wing guy, so he's big, can handle the ball. It kind of reminds me of what Kyle Anderson can, but just can shoot better. Maybe not play as great defense as Kyle Anderson, but Terrence Shannon can hold his own. He's got the weight, the size too. And I think part of the reason why he fell in the draft was unfortunately, that sexual assault case that he was found not guilty of. But, at the end of the day, he's moved on from that. He got drafted. And I think this will be a huge moment for Terrence Shannon as he, has a chance to prove himself, put all the past behind him, and just, play basketball, which I think he's looking forward to. And Timberwolves fans and the Timberwolves president of basketball operations, Tim Connolly, the coaching staff. So overall, huge win there for the Timberwolves, getting a talent that, can just score at all three levels, similar to Rob Dillingham. I think Rob Dillingham has more offensive potential, which is obviously why he went higher. But Terrence Shannon can also, I think, play some good defense and just fill one of those wing spot roles perfectly because they need wing depth. Because, like I said, the Timberwolves don't have any money in free agency really at all. We're going to see a lot of big things going on tonight and into the morning. They'll recap, Paul George on the move. We've already seen Javonte Murray get traded this weekend. We've seen a lot of huge moves. But at the end of the day, the Timberwolves, unless they do their trade of their own for Carl or, Rudy, but I never see that happening. The most likely option would be Carl. But Tim Connolly's put an emphasis that he wants to run it back, and rightfully so. When you're a team that makes the Western Conference Finals, has home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals, and is favored to go to the NBA Finals, you're going to run it back. And, the games against Dallas, they weren't blowouts. They were really close games besides the last game. But at the end of the day, if you can get scores like Terrence Shannon, Rob Dillingham to help you out, to pair with that already great defense, it's only up from here. And I think that's going to be a huge spark. I think Terrence Shannon is also an immediate impact player, and the Timberwolves need immediate impact players. We see teams like, the Hawks or, just rebuilding teams like the Pistons, Ron Holland, go for, more so project players that they can focus on with their future. And the Spurs, trading away assets to get future picks for Wemby when he's older. So, there's kind of two different directions you need to go, and the Timberwolves are in a win now mode, and they're being aggressive with it. And I totally respect that. And as a fan, I'm excited because I really do think Terrence Shannon can be on the scene for a long time. And I'm expecting Rob and Ant to be one of the best backcourts in the league in a couple of years if Rob Dillingham, can stay healthy, maybe put on a little bit more size for his defensive capabilities, but his offense is already there. And like I said, if you were to, try and mask their deficiencies, it is with this Timberwolves team that has a lot of experience and a lot of capable players already. And so, you don't typically see a team picking top 10 that just made to the Western Conference Finals, but the Timberwolves realized they had to make some moves to get better on offense because you see the Thunder already go out and get Alex Caruso. The West is only getting stronger. The Pelicans go out and trade for Javonte Murray to help their offense. And if Zion could ever stay healthy, that team maybe, could be a dangerous bet that you don't expect. And we're just seeing a bunch of these teams going to be making moves and signings tonight to try and get up. But the Timberwolves, don't have that, money, and rightfully so. I mean, you have Rudy, Carl, you just paid Ant, Jaden. So you have your core guys. And so you need to fix your problems in the draft. And I feel like they did a great job of doing that by getting just two absolute bucket getters. Terrence Shannon can also be very versatile on the wing, can handle the ball, just shoot it whenever. Rob Dillingham obviously can handle the ball and is a great backup point guard. Now, as Mike Conley enters his age 37 season, like I said in other previous Timberwolves draft videos, you don't want 37-year-old Mike Conley playing 75 plus regular season games again because it took a toll on him in the playoffs. He was more banged up. And Rob will be able to provide that fresh juice and give you a point guard you trust to play, 20, 25 minutes if Mike Conley, can't go for a game, or he just needs to rest because there's going to be a lot of back-to-backs, during the regular season. So you want to be able to rest in a lot of games, in a week. Maybe you have 4 games in a week, and that's a toll on some players. So, at the end of the day, I really like it because, Rob, you're addressing the future while addressing a now. And that's just a huge plus from Tim Connolly. I'm excited to see, Chris Finch. There was this thing he doesn't like to play rookies, but it seems like they're going to play Rob. They're probably going to play Terrence Shannon and one of these other young guys, assuming Jordan McLaughlin, I'm expecting to leave. Kyle Anderson's a very interesting one because he's such a great versatile defender. He was much better his first season just because the shot was fun. But in the playoffs against Dallas, the shot actually really did come around later in that playoff series. But, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens because you need to hit shots along with this great defense. So unless Kyle Anderson wants to come back on a vet minimum. That's all I'm expecting the Timberwolves to sign. Really, in free agency, that's all they can afford is a vet minimum contract. So it'll be interesting who they can get there. But overall, like I said, they need to adjust their problems through the draft. And I really thought they hit it with a home run. A lot of people have them as winners, and rightfully so, because they get better now and for the future, drafting, I believe, 2 studs, just 2 bucket getters that obviously do have a lot of areas to improve. There's a reason why they didn't go pick 1 or pick 2. But the Timberwolves, a team that just made it to the Western Conference Finals, is ready to teach them now. And I think Rob playing with Ant, who is a very competitive guy, Jaden, very competitive, will only help him, motivate him on the defensive end and the offensive end, help him get better, because there's still a lot of work to be done. But as of right now, things can go wrong. People like the Jarrett Culver pick. I did too, but that didn't work out. But, people also questioned the Anthony Edwards pick because it wasn't at the time a consensus that he'd go number 1. But at the end of the day, that pick ended up being great. So right now it just kind of, comes down to what can the Timberwolves do to get better now, and they did. And like I said, free agency is going to be tonight. And me and Nick, we'll be back here tomorrow to recap, whatever happens. I'm expecting a lot of moves, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. I'm excited. It's going to be crazy, wild. We're already getting reckless reports. I've already had reckless trades, but we'll be here to cover all that. But like I said, for my Timberwolves, and for everyone watching this, Timberwolves fan, we did what we need to do to get better through the draft, keep up with the OKC, the Denver Nuggets of the world, and, fix our major issue, which was shooting and just, offense. And we got maybe two out of like the 3 best offensive, just pure bucket getters. Obviously, Alex Sarr has tremendous defensive potential, and a lot of the higher prospects, like from the Bulls, Metellus Tavelis, if his shot, falls, but that's, their defensive upside is much higher, but the Timberwolves already have a lot of great defense. They need offense, and they got that through the draft, which was the only way they could have. And they were aggressive. So I respect it because, if they were just get Terrence Shannon, that would have been good. But they got 2 of the best bucket getters in college basketball last off season. So, I'm excited. And with that being said, Timberwolves won't really have, I assume, a big free agency unless, a trade happens, which, would completely flip me upside the head with what Tim Connolly said, because I know Tim Connolly's a creative guy, obviously came in and made the Rudy Gobert trade, but I don't expect, anything major. And it seems like they're sticking to the core, running this back with just only more help on the offensive end. So I do believe they got better as a team. And Anthony Edwards, like I said, only with him as another age, and really year 2 of Karl and Gobert, because year 1, Karl missed like 50-plus games. So last year was kind of the full year of experimenting. So maybe them even getting more continuity together could be good. I see them, the Paris fashion show, forming friendships. That's always great to see. And maybe Jay McDaniels can take another leap as an offensive player, and even Naz Reid, who's under 25, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. With that being said, I just want to, come on and address the Timberwolves draft, which I thought they did amazing in. And like I said, me and Nick will be back tomorrow to, recap all the free agency stuff that's already going to happen tonight. I'm excited even, if my team doesn't do anything like I expect, just, to see what teams do to get better. Hopefully, a lot of teams in the East get better to make it more competitive, so the West isn't as hard, but we'll see what happens. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. We'll catch you next one. Peace.